You've tuned into The Mountain Gardener with your host, Ken Lain. Gardening, it can be challenging, but with these simple insider tips, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, let's tune into today's Mountain Gardener with Ken and Lisa. So I have been out unloading literally thousands of roses. It is rose season. And so what you'll find at your garden centers, they've had bare root roses for the last 2-3 months. And bare roots, they're okay. Get a lot of choices with that, but the success rate is dismal. Oh my gosh. Have you ever got to hone your skills as a gardener to plant a bare root anything? Then you've got containerized. That is, that bare root plant. That plant was rooted out into a grower's container, the perfect medium. They're nurtured. They're grown to perfection. They're leafed out, and now they're in full bud. These are plants that have been nurtured. They're typically 2 years older than a bare root plant. We've had them at the farm, rooting them out. You can't put those in the ground too soon, or they can be exposed to frost. And so the frost won't kill a rose bush, but it nips off all the buds. Well, if we want the perfect rose, hundreds of them, ready for Mother's Day weekend, which could possibly for us, we're not quite sure, we'll wait. We prune them back so that they all come into bloom at the same exact time right this weekend. And so we'll time this so that all these roses are coming just at the last possible moment of possible frost, so that now we can commit to a lot of them and not have to worry about weather taking away the buds. It won't affect the plant at all. It just keeps them in bloom. Of course, people come to the garden center for inspiration, for beauty. They want to smell and touch and taste and just be romanced by this plant in full color. That's a good rose. And so we are famous for that kind of rose. And so I'd say probably 20% of the garden center right now literally is dedicated to roses. I look like I've been in a cat fight. So the last few days, I'm just wearing long sleeves to keep me from being scratched up by roses. Roses do amazingly well here in the mountains of Arizona. And let me tell you why. Because they are, well, first of all, anything with a thorn is probably going to do well in Arizona. That's okay. We got that out of the way. But they love the dry. They love the brightness. We don't get all the issues that the Midwest gets with all that humidity. I mean, roses really don't like that because there's things that eat all the sugars inside their flowers and inside their leaves. We don't get, they love to go through this cycle of resting for a bit in the winter and then coming back and going into full bloom. They need this rest, ebb and flow cycle so they can take all that energy and show off. We don't have that many bugs. Yeah, we get some thrip and aphids. They're so easy to deal with. Just spray them. They're fine. Use a rose food with systemic. You won't have bugs. It's super easy. So we don't really have the bugs. We don't get the mildew, the disease. Get a little bit of powdery mildew, but again, so easy to deal with if you know what to look for. The dryness and the brightness makes for a better rose. And so they will continually bloom from now through pretty much. I had rose buds on my bushes into November. It was close to Thanksgiving. It was amazing. So they weren't in full bloom in Thanksgiving. We're still getting frost and stuff, but they had buds. As a gardener, you're inspired. And so whether you grow a climbing rose, they have floribunda roses. These are long stem roses that you're going to go buy for your mom this weekend. To get her a rose bush. She can grow her own and pick them for the entire season. They're easy to grow. You've got floribunda roses, which is a long stem rose with a cluster, almost like a firework has gone out. Instead of one big rose, you've got a cluster of lots of roses at the end of that long stem. You've got miniature roses. They just get cute and small. The smaller flower, smaller bush, 2 by 2 by 2 instead of 4 by 4 by 4. Just they're half size. You've got ground cover roses. These are things that just they're basically ground cover. They're carpet roses is what they call them, but they just get maybe not even knee high, and then they spread. They got this beautiful peach, red, white, Apricot roses. They've got all kinds of colors to them. They're beautiful, and they bloom nonstop from now through. And a lot of the new roses, so the carpet roses, there's a called first edition or shrub roses. We're introducing these, so now you don't even need to prune them. They actually prune themselves. So when they start to bloom, typically your grandparents, they had to count back 3 nodes, cut it a 45-degree angle before it would set another flower. It needed help or coaxing. Now we've bred roses that bloom and then self-prune, drop that flower off, set another one all by itself. I mean, if you have not tried to grow rose in the mountains of Arizona, you don't have to be, you can be a novice gardener and be greatly successful at growing roses in your backyard. Nothing will bloom like them. Well, maybe a butterfly bush comes close. I guess autumn sage, there's a little tiny rose bush or sage bush that blooms pretty well, but the flowers are not as impressive. Russian sage, big blue spiky thing, but the flowers aren't as big and impressive, and they don't smell the same. Roses are unique and easy to grow in the mountains of Arizona. Waters Garden companion plants in May are purple robe locust, Vining achevia, Prescott sunshine geraniums, and easy elegant roses.
Just plant these roses in a sunny spot and enjoy.
We've married the beauty of long stem roses with the easy care of shrub roses for landscape color like no other plant in the backyard.
Choose fragrant reds, radiant pinks, corals, vivacious yellows, and stately whites.
Extremely fragrant and only found locally at Waters Garden Center in Prescott. For a more fruitful garden, increased success in the landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Mountain Gardener podcast. Subscribe through your favorite podcast streamer or visit watersgardencenter.com. Better yet, visit me directly right here at Waters Garden Center. Thanks for tuning in.